Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hustler Fund series here at UNK TV. My name is Martini Binot and I am here to share with you some information, interesting ideas and other facts related to the Hustler Fund. So today we want to look at the new regulations that were published by the CS Treasury, that is Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. And what he published is actually what eventually will establish the Hustler Fund. And what is most interesting about these regulations is that it outlines everything that needs to be in place so that we can have the Hustler Fund. And quickly, maybe a question. Do you know the official name of the Hustler Fund? Of course, we now have it. It's called the Financial Inclusion Fund. Financial inclusion actually means we are including as many people as possible to access capital or loans in simple terms. Many of the hustlers do not have the ability or cannot access these financial services. That includes insurance, capital, and other, even like pension services. So Financial Inclusion Fund is actually intended to bring on board as many hustlers as possible, or many people at the bottom of the pyramid, into the mainstream financial cover. So quickly, now that we know the name of the Hustler Fund, that is the Financial Inclusion Fund as per the regulations, well, let's now delve directly into some of these regulations. And what is very interesting is that the regulations establishes or outlines the purpose of this fund. And the main purpose of this fund, maybe to quickly read, is to, the purpose of the fund shall be to innovate, develop, deploy, and improve financial services and products that are affordable, accessible, and appropriate for the unserved and underserved persons, including credit, savings, insurance, and investment products. In essence, the Hustler Fund intends to enable these all of us, or as many Kenyans as possible, to access or participate in this financial service sector, like enhancing savings. People need to save more, access insurance, and also invest these monies, and so on. So that is very important. The Hustler Fund is going to ensure that more and more people that were underserved previously, or were not able to access these financial services, can now access these financial services. So quickly, guys, let's delve into these regulations. And some of the regulations, I've just picked a few, and it is very interesting that the Hustler Fund will have a CEO. The regulations establishes a CEO who will work under a board of directors, and it's called the Advisory Board, a special kind of a board that will be advising the CEO or advising the government on how best the Hustler Fund should be managed. So this CEO will be reporting to the Advisory Board, and this CEO will also be mandated to administer the fund, the Hustler Fund or the Financial Inclusion Fund. And the CEO will also be required to do financial and non-financial reports, and he or she will be submitting those reports to the Treasury. He will be submitting those reports to also other institutions like the Control of Budget, the Commission for Revenue Allocation, and the Auditor General's office. So that is important. So the regulations actually establishes the CEO. So the CEO will be in charge of this, and he will be supervised by the board, of course, the Advisory Board, and also the Treasury. Because this thing, the Hustler Fund, is domiciled at the Treasury. Although we know that the Hustler Fund will be administered to a large extent by the Ministry of Cooperative and MSME Development, we also know that it will be supervised by the Treasury as per the regulations. So another interesting part is that the Treasury, the regulation says that Treasury CS will ensure financial and non-financial reports submitted to the Auditor General that I have explained to the Control of Budget and also the Commission for Revenue Allocation. And one thing that the President has always outlined is that he insists that these funds are not free. These are monies that will be channeled or be given as affordable loans to as many people as possible, and so it will not be free money. So anyone who misappropriates these funds, anyone who provides information, false information, while applying for the loan, is liable and can be jailed for up to 5 years, and he or she can be fined up to not exceeding 5 million. So guys, mjue hii pesa si ya bure, and you can be in trouble if you provide wrong information or falsify information in the process of applying these loans. So that is very important for all of us to understand. Another very important aspect, or what these regulations has provided, is the protection of information of those who will be applying, and the institutions or any bank, for instance, anybody charged with handling the information of the applicants, because the hustlers are so many, tuko wengi sana. And so while applying for these loans, even banks have a lot of information about their clients. So any custodian of these funds will be fined or penalized if they disclose information to unauthorized third parties. So it means that the government or these regulations is providing for safeguards in cases where people might want to misuse the information or share information to unauthorized people outside the realm of this fund. And also, it is very interesting to note that the regulations also outlines the requirements, some of the basic requirements for someone to qualify for this hustler fund. One of them is you must be 18 years and above. So anyone below the age of 18 cannot apply for these funds. One must have an ID card, a proper ID card, to be able to apply. And in essence, the hustler fund, one is qualified if you are running a business as an individual. If you are running a business that qualifies to be micro, small, or medium enterprise. You can also qualify if you are a member of a SACCO or a registered groups like the chamas, like the table banking groups, and so on, and even probably CBOs. But of course, the regulations also say other requirements will be put in place. So we are still waiting for more requirements. I believe probably more requirements will be outlined by the fund as we move on, because soon we'll have the CEO, we'll have the Supervisory Board, we'll have the Treasury, we'll have the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME Development. The various entities, I believe, will sit down and come up with more regulations or more requirements, specific requirements. But the basics is you must be 18 years and above, you must have an ID, and you must be a member of a cooperative, a SACCO, you must be running a business, and so on. So those are what the regulation says. It also outlines that the fund shall promote financial inclusion, which is very important. There are many people who are not part of the financial system. They are not able to access loans. And also, there is the qualitative dimension of financial inclusion, in particular in responding to lending and borrowing, ethical practices, consumer rights, and financial literacy, as well as strengthening the operational capacity and informal sector membership-based financial institutions. So the Hustler Fund intends to strengthen these where many people are trying to access their finances. That is the SACCOs, the cooperatives, and the chamas at the village level, for instance. So many people over there are still operating informal banking services like the chama, the table banking, and so on. So the Hustler Fund intends to strengthen these informal membership-based financial services at the grassroots level. These are interventions to improve supply of affordable credit. We know that there is low supply of affordable credit. We have loans that are very expensive. We have Shylocks who are giving out loans at very high interest rates, which are always charged per day. We have the loaning application, the smartphone loaning applications, the Tala, the Branch, the Okash, and the rest. They are charging high interest rates. So this Hustler Fund intends to bring down the cost of credit that can be accessed by many other hustlers out there, or people who are doing business. The Hustler Fund tries to bring on board the informal sector participants. For instance, there are many people who are not salaried, but they are earning something maybe on a daily basis, on weekly basis, or irregular basis. So the Hustler Fund intends eventually, the vision is to make these people come be part of a formalized system whereby they can participate in more financial inclusion services like savings, like insurance, like saving for retirement, pension schemes, and so on. So the Hustler Fund actually is a brilliant idea. If well executed, there is a lot that could come out of it. So those are some of the regulations. I do not want to go deeper into it, but one most important thing about these regulations is that it mentions that other financial intermediaries like the banks, like the SACCO, like the insurance companies, and so on, will be participating in distributing this Hustler Fund. Yeah, that means a bank like ACB, Cooperative, can take the money, maybe like 200 million, and lend it to their customers who qualify as per the criteria outlined. It also says, the regulation says that if a SACCO, for instance, wants to channel the funds can be channeled through a SACCO, but the SACCO must, if it's getting like 1 billion or 700 million of the Hustler Fund, it must provide additional capital from their own sources, either equivalent to 700 million or a minimum that will be set by the Hustler Fund, or by this regulation. So this tells you that Hustler Fund will be channeled through these cooperative societies, these SACCOs, the local banks, the small banks in your villages. So guys, you need to be part of these SACCOs, get into a cooperative, form a group and be active, because probably they will channel these funds through these banks or through these financial intermediaries. So it means that banks and other financial intermediaries will be allowed to tap from the fund, whose initial capitalization will stand at 50 billion, but could be required to match funds accessed with their own capital. So this is a serious plan by the government to ensure that these financial institutions provide additional capital to the market, because we know currently getting loans is quite hard. The interest rates are back to the high rates, and now we require some kind of injection of capital into the market, and this Hustler Fund, I believe, will assist in achieving that. Kindly remember to subscribe to our channel. I will be giving out more information about the Hustler Fund, and I will be glad to hear what you guys have to say, what questions you have to ask. Maybe I can go find those information you are looking for. And thank you for watching. I think we are done for today. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.